you what I do. Yeah. So it doesn't really tell you what I do or anything like that. So so we just started with that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And I'm really sorry, Aurora. I just realized I was not recording, and I'm like, oh no, that's really frustrating. But that's just life, as homeschoolers, we sometimes forget things and we just keep moving on, right?
I had a button there.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know what to do.
I know. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I really do apologize.
Fine. And I just seen you like, this. Yeah. I'm like, wait, does she not realize?
I was like, just keep this straight face, like we're on. Act natural. No. So that's really beautiful that, like, once you knew that that's what you were going to do, you kind of just started living it and started parenting it. Like, I know when I was speaking to Chloe on Thursday, she does curriculum, like a structured curriculum. And she said the same thing, like she knew for a long time ago that she was going to homeschool. So she just started off in that way. And it sounds like, although you didn't really start off unschooling, you kind of started parenting in the way that was going to lead you to homeschooling. And then as now,
exactly,
continued, you now find yourself.
So I didn't really know before. I seen some of Chloe's and it was amazing. I loved her chat. But with her, I love that she was just like, like already homeschooling before they were like pregnant. That is just amazing. We didn't have that. I didn't even know about homeschooling. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know no one. I just didn't know nothing about it. Like, all I knew was, like, I probably heard it in a movie and that was it. And so we're like, we even moved to our area for the school. That was like, that was because I was like, oh wow, we can actually like take the boys to a nice school. Like, this is weird. Something for
yes. Are you okay? You good? You good?
Someone's knocked out.
As long as you're okay and it didn't hit your head. Can't quite tell the distance here. Oh Lord. Monday mornings.
I know, hey, like Halloween last night. Everything is crazy.
I know. And now my neighbor is whippersnippering. I'm like, of course.
Yes, Monday mornings.
Monday mornings.
We're gonna see.
This is life. This is homeschool life. You take it as it
I
is.
feel like our Mondays are usually like a weekend for us. So because the weekends are just so crazy. Then the Mondays is just like, let's like, breathe.
Absolutely.
Get like things back, to a rhythm again. But so we moved to the area for the school. And then we found that we were outdoors more because we lived near the ocean and the bush and all that sort of stuff. And we're like, and then I was like, oh, like I hate that the boys want to be like, are going to be at school like for, every like 5 days a week. Like, can't there be like a different thing, like 4 days a week or 3 days a week, maybe a couple hours, like, not like why just like nothing and then 5 days a week. And then so we were about to send him to like this preschool and everyone's like, wow, and we got accepted and everyone's like, whoa, around the area, like, you got accepted to the school. Wow, that's amazing. I can't believe, that's like, they were so excited for me. I'm like, yeah, we did. And we're not doing it anymore. We're not going. And then it's like, what? How are you not doing it? And then everyone was just so shocked. And I was like, we're just kind of like not doing preschool first. And then after that, we didn't do preschool. And then we're like, why don't we just like keep it going? And not do school. Like not do like, and then obviously my husband was just like, what's happening? We had the plan, we had the route, we were going full force, we had the beautiful school. Everything set up was like gonna be, boom boom boom. I was gonna go back to like full-time work, like all that sort of stuff. And then completely
it felt uneasy for you. And you just weren't like, you were like, this doesn't feel right.
I think just so many days a week when they're so young was like the big thing for me at first.
That's what caught you.
And then I looked up, I researched, as you know, we love researching. And then I researched about, is there any other school first? And there wasn't, like, there wasn't around here 4 days a week or 3 days a week. So that wasn't really an option anyway. And then it's just like, and then homeschooling, little things of homeschooling came up. I'm like, and I think my mum just made the joke or something like, you should homeschool. I'm like, yeah, right. And I thought you had to be like, I'm like, you have to have a reason to homeschool. Okay. Like you have to be maybe like an actor, or like you have to be like, you got to have a reason. Like you can't just be like, oh yeah, we're just going to homeschool. Like, so I was like, what's our reason? Like we need a reason. Like, come on.
I think you're going to be an actor when you're like 20. So,
Oh, so my pen fell. Oops. All right. Anyways, I won't write anything down today.
Oh, good. If you need it, grab it, of course.
It's under the, oh yeah, I found it.
Oh, that's good. Excellent. Oh, well, that sounds like, you were on a path and then all of a sudden you're just like, this still doesn't feel right, even though everyone around you was like excited for you and, willing to like cheer you on about how life, was projecting to go. And then you were just like, I'm not easy. And then just switched it around. And then you went to a little bit more structure and now you found yourself unschooling. So what does that like look for you in your day? Like, what does that mean for you? Because I think you've said before as well, you don't like sit in a box. You don't, like you're not classic, like, because
I feel like when you say unschooling, it might like, then there's radical unschooling. And I feel like sometimes people say unschooling is, you don't do any structure, like, and you don't really allow the kid, like you don't make any like decisions for the kids make the decisions. And I like both. I like everything, so my unschooling thing is more like a feeling of going with kind of, it's like, I feel like it's more intuition schooling, like, just going with what suits our days. And it seems to be like people like saying, oh yeah, you unschool. It's like, yeah, probably. So we did do the structure at first. We did the timetable thing, you would have been proud of that.
Yeah, I would have been like, go Aurora, I like it, go. But only if it suits you, you know what I mean? It's not for everyone.
It didn't suit the boys. And obviously it probably doesn't really suit me either, but we said, like, it was really when they were really young though. They were only like, and I wanted to make, and it was exciting. We did like a whole pretending we were at school and we had little backpacks and we pretended we were like going on a bus and we're like, the bell rang. Like we were just doing like little like
that's
playful
so cute.
thing.
That's
so we made it like a game and playful, because when they're that young and they watch TV, they're like, oh, school's amazing, like let's go to school. And we had like a little easel with a whiteboard and a blackboard, and they could be the teachers as well, like, so I let them be the teacher, so that means they learnt better because they were teaching me. I was like, oh, what can we teach them? Like, maybe teach me how to do the letter A. They're like, oh yeah, how do we do it? I was like, so they felt like they were teaching me, which is good.
That's beautiful. That's so
cute. And then
cute.
they taught each other as well.
Aww.
I always made sure my elder, so they're 5 and 6 year olds.
I
always made sure, at the time they would have been like 3 and 4. I always made sure he would be teaching my 3-year-old things, like, oh, can you show him how to do this, or can you do show this way and this way? And then he loved obviously doing that. So we did like a Monday to and then we, instead of writing, we did pictures of like what we're going to be doing through the day, which was so cute. It lasted a couple of months, didn't really last long, and it's they started going too much with the structure and I didn't really like it. Like they were just like, okay, now what's this playtime? Like, what do we do for playtime? Like, what do we do? It's like, what? What do you mean, what do we do? You gotta, you just do whatever you want. Like, just, and then I didn't like that they were just already like automatically waking up, and like some people love that, it like suits them, but I wanted them to know what to do and how to fill out their times when I'm not there, or, just learn how to do things for themselves as well. Because otherwise they're just relying on me for everything. It's just like, even like break time, like, oh yeah, look, this is just whatever you want to do. They're like, but what do we do? Like, and I was like, play with your toys, Lego, like anything. They're like, can you, like, they're just so stuck. And I was like, okay, this was like, it's just got too much. And then we're like, let's just go with how you're going. And also we wake up and then we had a structure, like, oh, we're going to learn the letter E today, and everything was to do with the letter E. It was amazing. We did like, eggs and like cartoons that were named E and everything like that, or the beach, we did B for beach. Like we did everything to do with the art, everything to do with B, which was fun. It was good for them. And then you realize they start going, nah, I don't want to do that. You're like, what? But we got it's the structure, like we did the day. This is what we were doing today. Like I did all the work last night.
Yeah.
This is the day. They're like, and then Cooper, like, you know, he'd just be like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, okay. And then I had to get through my conditioning. I feel like I was just like, it's okay. You don't have, and I do this with food as well. Like if you don't want, you know, like making food like broccoli or something like that, making it like they don't need to eat it. You don't need to eat that. Like, oh, and I always say, oh, if you don't want a lot, like if you, oh no, I say don't only have one broccoli. Make sure you just have one, and I'd make it like it's a thing that they don't have to eat. So that way they want it.
Yeah.
You know,
reverse psychology. Like, I love it.
Yeah. So I'm pretending for myself that it's like a lolly or something. So I'm just like, oh yeah, just have one. And like, you know, oh yeah. So yeah, reverse psychology with everything. I did that with bedtime, everything. I'm like, no, you can't go to bed yet. No, you're not going to bed. And they're like, oh, and I would actually film it for people because I didn't believe in. They're like, we want to go to bed. Let us go to bed. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, we'll go to bed, you know. So every single thing was kind of so like funny. I guess that's like my life, hey, like reverse psychology. Like it's more, just the psychology of how would I respond to this? If someone says no, don't do that. You're just like, you know.
But like, hello.
Or if someone's telling me to do something, I don't like it. You know? And I hear that from a lot of parents as well. Hey, they say, oh, I couldn't do unschooling or homeschooling. Well, they say more homeschooling. I couldn't do homeschooling because my kids won't listen to me. It's just like, oh, yeah. Like they don't really like, it's like we have to not be the teachers anymore. We're more like the, you know, I guess like, you know, an older sibling or like a mentor or a guide, you know, that sort of thing. It's not like, you know, you're going to do this. So as soon as we started doing it, it's like, nah, all right, you know what? Let's do that tomorrow. Let's try a different day, you know? And that's how probably the unschooling started to, you know, build up on and then realize, you know what, let's just intuitively wake up and pretty much like we have some things before, but let's just intuitively wake up and see what you want to do today. And I can go through that with you if you want.
I definitely would like to. I feel like what you've just shared is like you had to decondition yourself on a lot to get to that process of unschooling. And I think that that's something that's really, you know, important to mention, because I feel like when people hear unschooling, that it's just so much like I guess anxiety or like this weird, like, I don't really know the emotion of it. Like, oh, that's, you know, wrong, or that doesn't sound good, or how did the kids end up? Or, you know, like that's, you know, my kids wouldn't listen to me. My kids won't find things to learn. They'll just spend all their time on the computer. You know, my kids will just, you know, do all that thing. So there's a lot of like,
exactly. I hear that a lot. Hey,
yeah,
like, they won't. They don't have passions. They like they don't have anything they're interested in.
Yeah, and I think too,
and like, you don't realize that. But there must be. There's something.
Yeah, definitely.
There's something.
There
is
can't
something.
Just be like and I think too that process of deconditioning ourselves and letting our kids do that is how they find and we see their passions, and see how they find their resources and find their learning. Because I think it's not just, unless like yourself you start from pretty much the beginning, you know, there's so much conditioning that is attached to us, even if we do homeschool, you know, just everyday life. And I think, you know, unschooling doesn't have to be this one thing, like you were saying at the beginning, where it's like, oh, it's just kid led the whole way and you don't stand in the way. Like, I feel like there are so many more people who would say they unschool, but they like the box is really big. Like it's like a spectrum type thing.
Yeah, everyone loves to chuck the unschooling with the school years. Yeah, because everyone doesn't want to. I feel like a lot of people don't want to be in that. Hey,
because
it seems to be.
Yeah, and I think too, like it just doesn't like suit them. Like it's like, well, I'm like that, but I'm also like this. Yeah, you know, and it's like, So
and it's having the freedom, hey, of to be able to say, like, you know, if someone says, hey, you do this, it's like, yep, like, you know, we just it's the freedom of also yourself. But I love that as well, what you said. I think the first thing that parents have to do is unschool, like deschool, what you said. And that is pretty much like going on holiday.
Yeah.
Going on holiday for a couple weeks, couple months, a year, like
whatever it is. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Just do whatever, you know, and like, interact with the kids still. Like, it's not just like, you know, you're going to be at home cleaning and, you know, do, you know, everything, like just focused on your stuff, you know, interact with them, like ask them about their day, ask them what they're doing, you know, like, and give them anything that they're ready to do. So,
and lots and lots of opportunities. And it basically ends up turning into this finding your rhythm, and, you know, whether it becomes unschooling, whether because you just love it so much, or it becomes something else, you know, just that process of deconditioning, you know, and I guess deconditioning our mind when we hear about other people who are unschooling as well. It's like, oh, okay, well, it's not necessarily that they're like this. It could be like this. And, you know, just getting rid of all those preconceived ideas is, you know, I guess part of why I'm doing this series is just to get rid of all those preconceived ideas about all of the methods, because I feel like they're so boxed, you know, and there's so much of this like, oh, you're like that and I'm like this, we're different. And it's like, hold on, we're not actually that different. Even if like I'm very different to Chloe, but that's not a bad. Yeah. It's not different, doesn't have to be bad. You know what I mean? And I think
you do what suits your family. Exactly. And we're all individual. Hey, we're all individual
and it's
families.
all okay. You don't have to do like, we
all grow up differently. Hey, like we're all interested in, and some people are book family, some people are TV family, some people, you know, like it's just make it like, don't do exactly what you see on, you know, someone's doing that, oh, it works for them, so it's got to work for me. Like it just,
you really got to be in tune with yourself to know, yes, this sits right with me. And that, so in that, segueing into that, so how is your day flow? What, like, share with us that, and how and how your rhythm of the day, like how your house, like, do you have a house set up like a school?
We do have a house,
maybe like a house set up, like, you know, like do you have like different sections, or is it like a schoolroom? Do you have just cupboards of your resources? Like how does all of that, share all that with us?
So pretty much, like I said, like, so through the week we get a lot of questions from the kids, and I've just always tried to I'm not very good at remembering a lot, so I try and write them down, or I put them on like you know, audio notes kind of thing. Because sometimes usually you're driving or something, you know, you can't do it. But a lot of times you write it down because they have a question about the wind or the rainbow or like a tree or a bird, and you're just like, okay, let's get to that. And I also asked, what do you think that's about? What do you think this? And I was like, do you want to learn about that tomorrow? They're like, yeah, that sounds great. So we do that. And that's how we structure the day, the next day, or the next day, because sometimes the next day would be, hey, Aura, like, do the boys want to catch up? And I kind of drop a lot of stuff for social things, which I'm trying to not much now that we're not in, because I can get caught up with just too much for the boys. Because they could be out every day, like from morning to like afternoon with kids non-stop. We could do it every day with kids, like different kids from like the area or from the other areas. We could just keep going. And we did that at the beginning because we just I wanted to like give them everything. Like, let's go this one, let's go that one, let's go this one. And it was I realized you don't need that. The kids don't need that. Like, people keep talking about, I think because I had that conditioning, like everyone kept saying, oh, they need friends and a friend every day and this, and I'm like, okay, I can do that. So whatever someone said, like, what about this? I'm like, we can do that. We can do that. So that was a big thing that kept coming up. What about friends? I'm like, we can do that. Done. Here we go. And so we did it every day, and it just got too much for everybody and too much for the kids. They were just like, the next day just feeling so like much pressure because they have to like hold on to everything. Hey, like they can't be free as well. And so we drop everything usually for that, but now I'm trying to slowly come back and maybe just make it 3 times a week with maybe like but then they still got sports, but that's only for like an hour. So, you know, but like the whole day thing, maybe try and do 2 to 3 times a week. Like, which is, everyone knows, all my friends know like how difficult that is for me.
Stopping when you're a super social person, you know, it's hard to stop. Like we felt the same way when we lived in Sydney. You know, we could have been out every day, and we were out quite a lot, and it was getting to a point, like you said, where it was like, I'm not even ever home ever. Like even on the weekends, I'm never home. And so, you know, learning to sort of bring that back was really a big challenge, because it's just so fun being social and being with everyone, you know?
So, do you have your little dog?
Oh my goodness.
Nayla?
Nayla's going psycho at the neighbor who's doing the whippersniffering right on the edge. And I'm like sending a message to my family, stop the dog. Oh my goodness.
That is so funny.
This recording is going to be like really awkward to listen to.
Well, just before, like I had like my husband, he was like vacuuming in the background, so I had to like turn.
Oh dear.
I was like, this is homeschooling
life, right? And I think of any video I've done so far, this is the one I'm going to point to. You want to know what it's really like, how hard it is for mums to take 5 seconds, and what it's really like? Come watch this one, because you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. And that's what's important. And hopefully it's not too horrible on people's ears if they're listening in headphones, but sorry. Okay. So how did you...
Back to the structure thing. So we drop everything for that. But otherwise, we wake up, and if it's a beautiful day, that's why it's hard for us not to get out as well, because it's so beautiful around here, and everyone's like, come to the beach, it's so amazing, like we're having a home day, and you're looking out in the sun and the sea, and you're like, Aura, home day. One day a week. Come on, you can do it. And we go out, and we get like we take like a nice drink with us to the park, or where the ocean is, or something like that. And we sometimes we do the book exchange. I think I have created a reel quickly of our, like a little bit of our day as well, if you guys wanted to see it.
Definitely.
And we do that, like they change the books around, and then we sit down and we organize what we want to do for the day. And this is really good if it's really early, like not early, but sometimes it's good to like take their breakfast with them as well, you know, like make like the muffins things, or, you know, something like that, or cheese toasties, something. So we do that, and then we come back, and then everything would start to get through to the day. So we usually have when I have things written down, we'll okay, what are we going to do? And then so we have a cupboard as well, activity cupboard, we call it. It's meant to, before I guess it would have been the linen closet, so now it's like in someone else's house. But so it's a big like activity cupboard, and this is where we've got like a lot of things also luckily given to us, because for birthdays and Christmases I've always asked for like homeschooling things that they can learn with, and activities and all that, and we're luckily given a lot of like books. So that's why we have like bookwork things, that if they want to do that they can. And we usually take that in the car with us, or we take it on the beach. Like we work a lot outside, so for us calling it homeschooling, it's hard because we're not really at home. So it's more outdoor schooling. We try and take everything outside with us, even if it's on the balcony or in our little dirt patch we have.
Dirt patch, whatever. In our tiny little dirt patch, that's where we school.
We have a townhouse, so we live in a townhouse, and our setup is pretty much, we have little tables and chairs for them that they can ride on or do on it if they want to. Otherwise we can do it on the bed, in their room, on the floor. We just do anything that they like, however they want to feel, and how I want to like be as well. And they'd just be like, but they always have ideas, the boys now, and I guess that comes from the deschooling process. But they wake up and they're just like, okay, if I say you can go in the activity cupboard, there's like, so they're just like, can we do this at like a science box? And like, I have to be like, I'm like hyperventilating. Like, so there's a lot of things you have to overcome. and some days, like, you know, I'm like, oh, we're not going to do any school today. Like not school. I don't even call it school, but we can't do that today because I've got work to do. So I work as well from home. And they'll be like, oh, mommy, I want to paint. And you're like, what? Like, right now. This is Cooper always. Like, I never want to, everyone thinks you're so amazing that you just like do the paint. Like, you know, I was like, I don't. I was like, it's not like one of those things where, you know, you see the toddlers like, let's set up paints for you. You know, that's what we used to do probably back when they were like 2 or something, and that went fast.
Yeah.
This is more like now they're just like, mommy, when I want to paint, and you're just like, what? You want to paint now, like right now? And I say, okay. And I always have in my head, say yes, always say yes to things that are creative or learning. Say yes. You're like, yeah, okay, you can paint.
Set like, this up.
I want to, I was like, okay, what colors are you going to use? So this started off not too well because they would be like, I want all the colors and all this and all the things. And you're like, okay, cool. All right. We'll set you all up. So I was all for it before, setting them up. Okay, fine. We'll get it all set up. And they'll just be like, done. What? They're like, it's a worm. I'm like, I'm like, what am I going to do with this paint? Because they put the paint in themselves because I like to let them do it themselves as well. Same with the cooking and all that sort of stuff. But they're just, you're like, okay, money and mess and all this. I'm like, it's good, it's fine. But I always had that thing in my head that it's going to pay off in the end. Like, and it did. But yeah, so, and then also like Cooper would make a beautiful painting. I was like, this is so amazing. And then all of a sudden he'd be like painting it all black. And I'm like, what's going on?
No, stop!
Let me take a picture. What's happening? And he's just like, it's got bindies all on it. Bindies everywhere. Like, so I had to overcome my thing. Like, it's okay. He might be just a creative black, you know, artist, you know, shadow work. I don't know. Something.
I'll paint something beautiful and then no one's allowed to look at it. Boing! And you're like, what?
It was so beautiful. Yeah, it just that happened a lot. Or he would get really aggressive and just be like, you know, Parker as well. They just a perfectionist. I don't know if this is a normal kid thing, but yeah, they just like, I want to draw an elephant. I'm like, okay, you have to choose an elephant. Like, all right, here we go. Like, and I want it exactly like a real elephant, you know, a real one like that. I'm like, this is going to be a really hard thing to do, and I have to watch because I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to paint. I can't help them with this, and it's I reckon it's a good thing that I can't because and even I actually now that they've told me to do, I get like they've asked my husband to do clay work as well, like clay things, and he does it really good. I was like, you can't do it that good because now they're not going to always get you to do it because they can't do it that good. So you got to make it worse than you can. Okay, please for me, make it worse. But he doesn't. And then they're like, you know, they're just like, oh, can you do it again? So if they ever ask me, can you do this? I'm like, yeah, there you go. They're like, yeah, that doesn't look good, mommy. Like, all right, I'll do it. I'm like, okay. But yeah, that would be just like throwing the easel down, paint will go everywhere. And I was like, like, oh, I'd get so like all right, here we go. So that's the process of painting. So it doesn't people think that Cooper's just you know, oh, he's just, how did he come up with these paintings? Because he's been doing these beautiful beach paintings.
I know, I'm so excited to get Jackson to get doing them. I'm so excited. I am like,
I can't even do them though, so I can understand.
I know, I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I look at that, I'm like, how did a 5 or 6 year old do that? What?
I know, I can't do it either. So but that's how it started, was with a lot of tantrums, a lot of throwing. I didn't show that because in the moment you don't think about getting your phone out and like, show us what, you know, so people don't see that. Hey, why would you want to? And that's kind of, I feel rude to the kid as well. Like people say, you know, it's good to be real to people, but I'd rather tell people and not show.
Yeah, we don't need to embarrass our children in their moment of, you know, in their moment of learning and growing and, you know, maturing and all of that, which aka a temper tantrum, you know, like.
And I would be the same though. Hey, like it's just painting is frustrating. Hey, especially if he had this vision in his mind. So he just kept having these visions in his mind the day before. So what I loved what you said about opportunity. So we always, I think that's a big thing. We always try and take up all the opportunities, and I have something in my mind. I'm like, I really want them to like experience this or experience that. So we'll probably go to the city and look at like, you know, the Harbour Bridge, and we did the fireworks and the you know, like just different things, like a horse, you know, I want them to like do a horse, or, you know, like ride a horse for one day, or just like something, because that always fires off a little passion in them.
Yeah.
Every time. So if you can't do any of that, just maybe just drive to like, you know, like where a farm is and like overlook on the fence, like the cows and stuff. Like it always just something comes up in them to do with something, and then you can go home and be like, let's make clay clouds. Clay clouds.
Clay clouds. Say that 5 times. Clay
cows. Yeah, they can like go home and they just do everything to do with cows, everything, you know. So with Cooper, when he was about 4, he wanted to learn about the digestive system. He didn't realize it was that, but you know, he just wanted to go, oh yeah, I want to learn that's how I think it started. And I was like, okay, we need a homeschooling, because I love him having these questions and just keep going. So
and not have to wait to year 3 or year 2 or whatever it is in the curriculum. It actually isn't even in the curriculum. I don't know if something like the digestive system.
It definitely is in there, I think. Yeah, it is in there, but I remember doing the heart because I only did a project of the heart.
Yes.
That's all I remember.
Yeah, I know Lily did, but that was in year 10.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I mean, obviously year 10 would be very different too, you know, when they're little, but still like being able to take. Yeah, he taught me everything as well with the digestive system. So you don't have to know everything. You're not a teacher. So everyone asks that question, like, you know, what qualifications do you have? Are you a teacher? No. No. No and no. And actually I'm learning after the fact or with the fact.
Beautiful, isn't it? How exciting is it
beautiful
to learn?
It is. And I love watching that moment of like when we both learn, like when we're both watching something and we both learn something at the same time, and that look that we give each other of just like, oh my gosh, that was so cool, because we both did something at the same time. And that look and that connection, I mean, really, there's nothing else that beats that. Mind anyway, like learning along with your child in what they're interested in really opens the door so much for even because there's so many things. Like I can imagine you've been the same, because you know, not necessarily because you've got 2 boys, but you know, they think so differently to us, that it's just so amazing to like learn the things that they're thinking about because I think with my son, like he'll like say something about the digestive system, right? And he'll be like, I want to learn about that. And so I'll be like, okay, so here it is. And he'll be like, no, I want to learn specifically about this part. And I'm like, I didn't even know that part existed, but we've learned that through. I'm like, oh, he's like, I need to go down this path. I'm like, okay. And then, you know, you're learning things that you didn't even know existed in your own body or whatever it is. And then, you know, it just keeps going. And it's just so, like, I would have never thought about that aspect of, you know, whatever
I love
it is
the details.
Ever,
hey,
you know?
The details of everything. They're so good with the details, and we just skim over it. Like, I love my eldest questions. Like, I feel like he can be I really like appreciate like quirkiness with people and definitely kids, because they just amaze me with the information and what they want to learn about. And I think the other day was Cooper went to his Cooper's like, I have something to tell you. You know, his friend, and he's like, I have something to tell you. I got to tell you something. And he's just like, the friend's like, and I think his friend's 5, and he's just like looking at him. He's just like, did you know when you grow up, your voice gets deeper, and and when you yell, it goes quiet. And then the boy's like, oh, okay. Like, and it's just funny. I was like, wow, that was the big, like, you know, like, okay, where did we get this from? You know, so it's just like, what, you know, just little things like that, what he's thinking about. And he always asks me, how do you know this? Like, how do you know that? Like, how did you learn this? Did you practice this? It's like, we know some things, we don't know all of it. We learn it together, like what you said. And I can't wait to learn. Like, I just want to learn about everything with them. Like, and I have to hold myself back and wait till they're ready, like the solar system and all that. I was like, let's do this all, but you know, we'll wait. We'll wait till it comes up. And I'm glad I've waited every single time. I think I really wanted to do construction, and I held off until they're ready. And then one time they just went into it. Like, other boys would like love the whole construction stuff. And I was like, okay, why are they not into it? Finally, the neighbor's house was getting built, and they're like, we want to build a house. I'm like, yes, let's do this. let's get all the stuff ready. And we got like wood and we got stuff and we got everything to do with it. We learned about all the tools, like, and we tried to, we did everything to do with it. And it was like, yeah, we finally can do construction. So I wait for that to happen in their minds, and we'll just do everything, just go crazy with it. And then they're on to the next thing and the next thing, like, with the, what we talked about with our last episode, with the gaming and everything.
Yeah. And I think too, like all of that forms scaffolding. So like within the curriculum and everything, like the national curriculums and stuff, they like to scaffold information, and it's really good for our brains, regardless of the curriculum, to scaffold the information. And I think, what you're sharing now with going, on interest-led, construction, right? That's, whatever it is that you went all out on and taught them at that stage, if they go back to that, if they ever go back to any of those topics, they've got a really solid base on whatever it is. And then it'll just lead to bigger and better things as they age, as they mature, and their brains develop, and they kind of question things a little bit more, and then they can start piecing things together. And and I think it's important to remind people who might be skeptical of unschooling, is that like the scaffolding still happens, and all of that important foundation skills is still happening. It just looks completely different. And it's more, honestly, in my opinion too, like I feel like it's like truer, deeper learning when you learn it yourself. Because I mean, there's so much of my life that I don't remember in school because I didn't care. It didn't make sense. It wasn't relevant. All of those things. I don't know if anyone remembers anything from school. But I think being able to be super interested in something, we know that produces actual real learning.
Exactly.
And they will learn how to do those higher level thinking skills as they age and mature.
And
absolutely.
I think that's what the bigger thing for me was saying, I want the boys to be like how I am kind of now. Like I want them to be able, like, love to learn and know how to learn and be and I feel like whatever I love doing, I remember it. Whatever in the books that I'm reading now, I'll remember it forever. Like I don't really even need to read back on it, because I absolutely loved every single moment of reading it. And I just feel like they will forget things that they're not really that interested in. We'll have to just go back into it anyway. And people used to say to me, how are they going to learn how to read or this or write their name? Like just write, like let's just say that as a basic one, just write their name. And I feel like people think that you need to go to school or you need someone to teach you how to write your name. And you just, when it's like walking and talking, and for me, swimming as well, the boys like learn how to swim. They taught themselves how to swim, all that sort of stuff. It's like the same thing where they just end up doing it out of nowhere. And then the kids come home from like the daycare or the preschool and be like, look what I learned how to do. So it's like, wow, that's great. But they just were ready to do it. They were ready to learn it. And they start to do it. They're like, oh, I want to like, but obviously you're going to put the things around there, like the books or the reading or the writing. Make sure you're like showing them writing. Like maybe you start writing, But if you're on your phone, say that you're writing something or you're reading something, if you're not a book, like show them what, that you're not just, looking at pictures or something, So, and that's the same with, if you're working. So I have to work on my phone sometimes. So it's like, they know that I'm working as well. And I find that a good thing because they can see like real life type of what happens in, they're copying like, what happens. And with working and communicating with, other people and they love it. They want to work. They can't, like, obviously is kind of working now. Like he's my boss. Like, getting me. Oh, he's been full on. Hey, like that's another thing. Everyone's like, oh, how do you do it? How do you just come up with all these different things for them to do? I'm like, they do it. Like they're like, mommy. And then because I put ideas in there though, their heads, like they just don't come up with it from but like just little things like we'll go somewhere. That's an idea. the YouTube, you know, that's why I don't mind YouTube, because it has sparked ideas in their heads.
Yeah.
Like, say for instance, Orbeez or something, you know, or, you know, the Orbeez like that you put in, you know, sensory activity when they were younger. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know about that. So
yeah.
Let's do that, you know?
Yeah.
But
definitely. Just being able to let them find it, but also having everything, not everything, but like having all of those little things that we need to have developed by the time we're, you know, an adult, available, the reading, the writing,
have it
all
around
of those,
you,
have it around that, talking
them,
about
connection. Everything. So that he ended up just coming back and going, Mommy, look, I can, you know, when it was, I don't even know how, it doesn't even matter how old they are, because it doesn't, that's a big thing with unschooling. It doesn't, I don't like to discuss people like, oh, how old is he? Because I don't want people to feel like their kid has to be where they are, because their kid is amazing at something else. Like, so amazing. You know?
And who are you comparing it to when you're going, oh, how will you know what grade they're in, or how will you know this or that? And it's like, but why would I compare my child to your child, regardless of any other thing? Like, let's take away everything. Like, that's something that we all need to have deconditioned, especially like, you know, so many homeschoolers feel this way. You know, like if we could just all decondition ourselves about the idea of comparing ourselves or our children and
children,
you know, pointing
why does 5-year-old has to do what another 5-year-old or 6-year-old or 7-year-old doing? Like, by the time you get to how old, like 8 months after school, as soon as you leave school, like, is anyone like, I'm not, you know, you start, you people are comparing, but you're not like saying, oh, can you know, because everyone has their own different ways of their like expertise. And that's what, like, I feel like that's what we're here for. We're here because we have unique gifts. Like, we're all unique for a reason. So we have to find them unique gifts and give them to the world. And how are we doing that? And I kind of have that feeling only just recently that you know, school does damper that unique gift in us, because it wants us to be working at the 9-to-5 job. You know, I don't remember them teaching about business or like being at home, like, you know, like, just like, you know, like, right, like, you know, bills or you know, everything like that. And I want the boys to learn about business, so that's a bit of an important thing for me. I would love the boys to know about, you know, everyone has their own important things though that they have. Like, my one is, I think, because you have your, I guess what would you call it when it's everyone has their like no like, I don't know, it's so everyone has their thing of what they would just bring forward themselves as a parent to their kids, and they want them to learn a you know, particular thing. Like, okay, I want my kids to like read, or I want my kids to do that. My one is like, I would like them to learn like business. That would be great. And we'll find ways. And Cooper's already doing it, and I haven't even done anything yet, but it's just like my intentions subconsciously have come out through that, because I must be saying little things like, I'm working, so I need to work. I got to work because and I always, like, I'm very careful with how I say things as well. I always try and say Dada wants to work. I don't say Dada needs, like, I don't say Dada, oh, Dada doesn't want to work, and you know, like, or, you know, I do say I have to work for food, and I'm working to give you food and shelter and, you know, all this sort of stuff. I explain that to them, but I also say that we like working, because I don't want them, like, otherwise it'd be like, I don't want to get older. Like, you don't like working, I don't want to work. You know, I want them to feel like, I'm very careful with the language that comes out, especially even with cleaning or something like that. I am not a cleaner. I don't like cleaning. But
I don't know if
with the boys,
does. I know people do, and I'm like, I don't understand it.
Everyone, like, I feel like everyone does. Like, I don't, that's good. Okay, because like,
I don't love it, but I do like it when it's done. I like to mop the floor. I've realized I've shifted the way I view mopping the floor. So I'm liking
shifting the way.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I love mopping the floor, because it means everyone has to stay in their rooms, and I get 5 minutes.
Woo-woo!
I mean, I get 5 minutes anyway, but I'm just like, but now you can't come out, and I've like scrubbed the floor.
And you can get their headphones in as well, because they're not the vacuum, so that's even better.
And everyone has to do their own thing, and I get to have headphones and just mop the floor.
Change it. Change it in your mind. Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to do with the boys. I don't want them to feel like, so when I feel like, oh man, I have to clean, I'm like, I want to clean. Want to clean. Like, I say that. I try and say with my words what, you know, and it's such I feel like I'm very, very a bit different with everyone, because like a lot of people are big with the kids, like cleaning and doing this and doing that. And for me, I feel like if it's something to do with creativity and learning and school, and I don't want them to clean up after it. Like if they want to, that's awesome. But I want that experience to be so like amazing for them. I don't want them to be like, oh, well, after that, and then I got to do this. And I was just like, you know what, I'm going to take care of this. Like I'll take care of this part. You just be in the moment, and that way they can see it as a good thing. And with like the room and stuff, it's just like, like even with just with cleaning, like it is harder for me, I guess, in a way, but to do like, obviously I'm doing everything, the cleaning for them, but they end up actually helping out and saying, Mommy, look, we've cleaned the room, or we cleaned that, because it's like they've took that initiative themselves. I don't know. It's just for some reason. And I don't know if it's the way that I'm wording it as well. But also I had a question as well with about the mess, because we love cooking. And I don't know if I thought all homeschoolers do cooking.
Nope. My husband's the cook in the house. I hate cooking. If I have to, I tried to reshift it, and I created that Instagram page with you, and I was like, I'm shifting the way I cook. I love cooking. Look at me cook. Yeah, no, it's going to take a lot longer than that, because I do not like being in the kitchen. It does not bring me joy at all. I don't know, and
more cooking with the kids as well. So I thought everyone was like, oh yeah, they would take that. So that's why everyone is different. Like you're so much better at like the the organization.
I'm so much better at all of this. Cooking is just not something that I'm
and then for me, I don't mind mess. Like I love a clean house, don't get me wrong. Everyone's like, well, I want to clean because I don't like mess. It's like, well, I don't like mess either. But it's still, I guess it's priorities as well. Big thing, priorities. What is my priority? My priority is today. It's always the kids for me first. And if that means the house is like absolutely a bomb site today, and then if someone calls me up and says, I hear like a lot of people as well saying, oh, they can't get out of the house until the house is clean. I just laugh at that, because I was like, I would just never leave.
I know, right? I'm the same. I'm the same. I'm exactly the same. It's like, oh man, I love it when people want to come over, because then I'm like, thank God. I even said to Lily, because Lily wanted to bring a friend over on Saturday. Today's Monday. So Saturday. And so Friday night, she's like, oh, I'm not sure. Maybe I will invite her over to get ready for the party or not. And I was like, no, please do. Because then that gives me motivation to wake up in the morning and clean this house, because it's a disaster.
You need the motivation.
But I'm like, I don't have any motivation right now. I'm just going to keep sitting here. But now someone's coming here. I can't have, I get very OCD. And I even I had so much to do on Saturday, and I was like, and I still have to clean this whole house. And I cleaned it. And then I was like,
thing that everyone gets, I think when you start cleaning, you get to this point. I don't know if it's like alcohol. You get to this point, and you're gone. It's like, I'll start cleaning, and then when you're in there's this zone that you get into, and then you just start seeing everything everywhere.
I know.
I don't like to get in that zone.
Oh, I love getting in that zone, but it's so frustrating.
I love it. I love it. It's frustrating, and I guess that's what everyone's feeling every day. But I just get it when I'm cleaning. So I feel like even that's like with body image and all that sort of stuff, with like exercising, it reminds me of that. So when you start thinking about your body image and exercising, you start, really noticing way more, and you want to do it more. And I never want to be that addicted to anything. So with cleaning, I know how I can get, and I'm not like that. And so I can imagine other people that already have that tendency in them before. That'd be really hard for me. So as soon as you get into that mode, it's just like, okay, I want it. And then I see like a little speck on the floor. I'm like scrubbing that, and like I look like crazy person.
Oh, I hope that's not my internet.
And everything. And I relax, because I know the pattern. Did it break up?
Hello. I'm here. You froze, and it could be me. So I think we're right now. Want to give a wave? Is it live? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Because I can tell if it's like a lagged if you wave. then. Yeah. Okay. So sorry.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know if it was my internet, but you completely froze on my end. But yes, I think the last thing that I heard you say was about cleaning, not getting addicted to it. And then
I just want to be more relaxed in the in life, like, and you know, if you know the cleaning can wait, like it, and when the boys are older, then it's going to be a you know, a short time. It's such a short time until they're older, and they're going to be able to do it themselves, or they'll be out of the house. Like, it's such a short time, and I can have the house spotless and amazing when they leave, and I still probably won't.
Right, because we've lived our whole lives like this, right?
It's a great excuse with the kids, like, oh yeah, I have kids, so that's why the house is like this, you know, or homeschool, a homeschooling house. As soon as you decide to homeschool, I think you have to really let go. Like, you don't have to, everybody. A lot of homeschoolers just kind of let go of this aspect of having a clean house, or what our house looks like, you know, if the kids go to school, or what the house, you know, anything like that. Exactly. Because and really, if you want it, and if you want to have that clean house, you have to go minimalism then. You have to and so I try not to have things on shelves and things, if you know, that won't, so when there's nothing on, say for instance the TV stand, when there's nothing on that and there's just like two things, nothing else gets put on it, because it's like everyone knows that's like the nothing gets put on that. So you have to maybe get someone in to like try to organize a house. I haven't done that, but you know, like you have to be organized first then, and be very try not to have too much going on, because that's the only way. Otherwise it's going to be crazy, and you have to and in the kitchen, it gets messy, and I let them experiment. But in my back of my mind, I have in my head that it's for their best interest, because I want them to feel it. I want them to experience the sensory feeling of it. I want them to be able to come up with the creations themselves. And it can be bad, and that's awesome. Like, what, you know, great. And I let them have, what do you want to put in a cake? Whatever, you know, let's make a cake. And I, you know, put a couple of options out on the bench or something like that. Luckily we have wooden floors. Otherwise you do it outside. You know, you know, but we have wooden floors, so we just go a bit crazy with that. So they can just put as much flour as they want in there. They crack their own eggs, they do everything. I let them do whatever they want to put in there and see what happens in the oven, you know.
That's cool.
And it ends up coming out. And yes, it's like a mess, but, and I also do, like, I don't stress, like, I don't know, for some reason, I just am fine with it, because I just feel like this is their learning experience, and this is their, you know, this is like their memory, you know, like, and this is helping them learn how to cook and science. And, you know, it comes in with, I feel like cooking for me is like all the, you know, mathematics, like it comes with every single type of schooling, you know, you can make everything in with the cooking for me.
And I think
so it's
too,
like a no-brainer for me.
It goes even further than that. Like, listening to you talk about that, like, that experience goes so much deeper than just the actual cooking itself. Like, the fact that you're relaxed and they can just make that mess, I mean, that's like letting their brain know, okay, it's okay to make mess. They're not going to have that, like, oh, I've spilt a little bit here, or you know, and then, you know, that's going to help their self-talk, the things that they say to themselves, you know, that's going to help how they are raised in, and then becoming teenagers and adults in, because they've started from so young, just being able to experiment with, and it's okay that it makes mess, and mom's not freaking out, and mom, you know, you know, things like that. And so it just, you know,
I'm not too sure if that helps with eating as well, because my boys do love food and they'll eat everything. They obviously have different options of what they prefer. So, like, you know, Cooper doesn't want honey on Wheat Bix, which I always accidentally do when Parker, Cooper doesn't and Parker does, you know, like little preferences. It's fine. He likes honey, but he'd rather not, which is everybody. Hey. But I feel like that might come down to, because I was always very careful with sensory, like very good. Like, I always put a whole array of food in front of their, you know, little tray things that, you know, what's high chair, different sensory things, like a crunchy thing, a green thing, or, you know, a whole meal thing, you know, like just all different feelings. They could eat with their hands. They enjoyed it. They didn't have to eat it. They could just, like, you know, throw it on the floor, whatever, you know. I was fine with it.
Yeah.
And I always put like a new crazy thing in there, like, you know, what they dragon fruit or something. If I see mussel, like just put something in there that's like crazy, and they'd be like, yeah, how cool is this? And they just loved it, you know? And if they didn't like it, that's, I don't know, that's fine. Yeah. So it's just, it's more like a game or a play, you know?
Yeah.
And with the food, I feel like, the same thing, like cooking, just having that feeling of like just going, putting it all there, mixing up your potion, and it's like, I guess I'm a bit different with the whole messy thing, hey, with the cooking and all that sort of stuff. Hey, I can, I don't know why, but I can relax. It is, you know, I do get frustrated with it, you know, because I have to clean it. And I don't have much time. But for me, the pros outweigh the cons in me cleaning it. So
and cleaning's it's not a horrendous thing to do, considering what you've just witnessed and watched, and the memories and the long-term gain of that, like that, you know, hour or two, however long it is to clean up. You know, it sounds like it's, you know, it's such a priority
as well.
Why not?
Like, they like love it, and then they can decorate if they want, and they can we try and do like healthy options as well, so they can come up with different, you know, colors and all that sort of stuff to create it. So I hope that answers that question.
I think so. I think it definitely does. Like, it's just, you know, it's about being okay with the mess, because the long-term gain and even the short-term gain is better than just the idea of having to clean it up, because, you know, if we're stressing about the mess, then that's what we're inadvertently teaching our kids. And then that's, you know, forms part of their self-talk and all of those things. And I feel like, you know, you touched on this before, you know, like when we were talking about comparing our kids, you know, really what we want from our children, regardless if you go to school or not, is to be successful adults or people in society. And, you know, I think now that Lily's 17, no one looks at her and goes, oh, well, every other 17-year-old knows X. Do you know X? You know, but what they're going to say is, oh, look at this 17-year-old. Oh, you don't look any different to this 17-year-old. Okay. You know, it becomes much more about looks or behavior even. So my daughter Lily behaves nothing like any other 17-year-old, you know, even within the homeschooling community, you know, like she's very different. She is herself, and she's allowed to be herself, and that's her space. And, you know, every child is different, but I think it's, you know, all we want from our kids is to be able to grow up and to have that ability to lead successful lives, whatever success means to them, right? Successful and happy lives, whatever that means for them, right? And I think that inner self-talk and that space as kids to kind of grow up in a more relaxed atmosphere, because, you know, maybe cleaning isn't, you know, a priority in the sense of like, let's just make a mess and then we'll clean it up, or, you know, other things like that. I feel like that really is what, you know, sets our kids apart from mainstream kids, is because they have that ability to, you know, really find themselves and have that inner self-talk that's not chiseled away by, you know, mainstream school, and being around, you know, all of that kind of constantly comparing.
True. I've heard that's what school is about, is just competition.
Constantly. So I feel like I just wanted to bring that back up in the scope of cleaning, because it, you know, I think I've just like shifted something in my head about that, you know what I mean? Because I really struggle with, like, obviously I really struggle with cooking and baking, and I really struggle with letting my kids do that, because not only do I hate cooking, but I hate cleaning. And I don't want to have to do 3 loads in the dishwasher, you know? And so it's just like, I have this like story in my head about this process, and just hearing you say that, it's like, actually, if I don't, then that's the story that's like the inner self-talk. Maybe, and that's all of the things that my kids are going to have, because I didn't just like, you know?
Put some, you want to put like a apple in a pot, okay, you
let's
know,
do
put
it.
water in it, like, let's see what it happens, you know.
And I think that's so cool to like sort of shift, like I've just now shifted my perspective, and I think, you know, understanding that and the importance of
And it goes through everything. Hey, eating as well is super important. Like that keeps you alive.
Yeah. You kind of need to eat, people.
You gotta eat.
You gotta eat. So
if you want the kids to, I don't know, I find maybe the picky eaters, maybe like, it just might help with, I feel like I've heard a lot of sensory things and color things and everything like that. So it's just about getting involved and going crazy with it. If they don't like it, that's fine. They can throw it in the bin, like get cheap stuff to get the cheap flour, you know, whatever, you know, if it's just try not to, you know, start little with cheap stuff. If you're worried about expense. But see it, just look at it as a sensory activity. Like, you know, like what people used to do with, you know, toddlers with paint, or I don't know,
the colored rice, or the colored chickpeas, and all of those. It's just a sensory
activity. It's not like, it's just,
fun learning in a lot of different scopes. So
and then it goes back to the eating in the end, which is the main thing that you want. And I love what you said. I think everyone has to realize, what do you want? What was the most important thing that you would like for your kids? You know, mine is to be alive.
It's kind of, I really want you to be alive.
my first thing is like, can you like hopefully they survive. That would be great. And let's not like be like into drugs and all that. That would be great as well. You know?
You got to survive and thrive and have the grit of life.
To be happy, and then I'd love them to be able to help people. That would be really great for me. Is mine would be because I know. You know, I feel like everybody loves helping people. I don't know, deep down, like, you know, deep down, everyone, we're here for each other. That's why we're all here, you know, in this world together. We're here for each other. And then I also feel like we are the same as well. Like we are like the same at the same time. So it's like we want to help each other because we are each other.
And we can kind of see and connect with like, that's like I remember being like that. Or I actually, you know, and just being like, you know, help that.
And we learn from each other. We're all so different. And we're learning like every day. And also, with the, for sure. Like we're all completely.
You're learning every day. You're doing amazing things.
Learning every single day.
How do you like record it? Like, do you record it? Do you like, how are you documenting it? Do you care? Like what is your process there in that? Like, you know, what's your philosophy or method, or, you know, any of those types of things in regards to like recording what you're doing?
For me, I just have a separate Instagram page. It's private, and I just put the photos on there that they've done, and I put like a little text underneath of what they've been doing, and that's pretty much how I record it. And so that's just how I record their learning. That's cool. That's pretty much it. And I'll just go back into, you know, what everybody else, New South Wales or whatever is like, but they're like, you know, what's you know, what is needed from us. And I'll check that off with exactly what, you know, they been doing. So, and everything that they're doing has been able to be checked off that list. Easily. It's just like, it just blows my mind how much they have learned, like with like by themselves. Like I haven't had to do, and it's the biggest part and the hardest part is letting go and letting them just wait, just be patience and surrendering. I love that word that you had last time, you know, just going with it and just holding back, like it's going to be okay, and just going within and going, you know what I'm doing, even if you're not doing anything, even if they're playing Lego all day, you know, what we're doing is exactly perfect for their future. This is their path, and this is what they need right now. They need to go and play Lego nonstop all day. That's what, like, you know, that's what they need to do. As long as you're still there interacting, having fun, play Lego with them, do something, you know, be around them, you know, still, like, don't just be like, all right, see you later, you know. But this is their journey on their path right now, you know, and this is going to make who they are in the future, you know.
Exactly.
And
you've got that like inner trust.
Maybe you might not like, if, you know, if someone said, oh yeah, like they're going to be this, you know, when they're like a psychic or something, oh, they're going to be this in the future, and you might not like to know what it is now, but then you'll find out later on that this is why. It's like an amazing different thing that, you know, you never thought of. You have to be open to all the possibilities. Like if you know, and I think that's what unschooling is, to be open to what they will become. And I feel like my boys right now will become amazing human beings, and I want them to be kind people, and like I said, helping people some way, and just to be have so many different experiences in life. That what I would love. I would love them to like experience everything and be open to everything. So even with when people say would you let your kids know about this, or like I think Santa and all that sort of stuff, like people say about Christmas and all that, I was just like, I want them to make that decision themselves. I'm open. I'm gonna like, what do you think? I'm not gonna ever close them off that there's something that's not real. It might be real. Something might be real and we don't know. Like I feel like we don't know everything of life. Like I don't like when people say facts and this is a fact and this is science and this is this. It's like, well, science changes every day. Like we don't know for sure, like 100%. Have you like gone to the other side, like so I want them to be open with everything, with life, with everything, fairies or what do you think? I haven't seen one. Have you? No, I don't know. Maybe, who knows? I'm honest, I haven't, but I don't know. So I don't want them to go no.
That makes I feel like you have your idea of you have your goal set of what you would like for the rest of your life, for the rest of their life, and you're taking them there, and that method of unschooling and whatever else goes along with it will take you through that path, because that's where you're intentionally going. And
maybe that's what it is. Then set your intentions first. What do you want to achieve? What you
want to achieve, what sits well with you,
and then let go.
and then just like
trust.
Understand that like when you say something to the universe or whatever, or when you say I want patience, what's going to happen?
I love
you
it.
are going to have trial upon trial to give yourself patience.
You
can't just be handed patience, right? So if you do,
if true.
If unschooling is something that you're just like, wow, that sounds really awesome, that comes with a lot of deconditioning, a lot of pulling away. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of letting go, surrendering, and trust. Just trusting. Like, even if you can't trust yourself, even if you can't trust your child, you are trusting the people who have gone before you. People who are people who are ahead of you, people who have finished, and you're looking at their kids and you're being, no, I can trust them. And now I understand it doesn't matter if your kids go to school. It doesn't matter the method of education. Your kid is going to turn out how your kid's going to turn out. You've got kids in the school system who are fantastic. You've got kids in the school system who have failed. Same with homeschooling. You're going to have kids who thrived in homeschooling, and you're going to have kids who failed. And I don't mean by like education, I don't mean by that, but like, they're still, they're going to be how they're going to be, negative people in the world, they could say, any of those celebrities, right? Like, oh, she's homeschooled. Okay. But that she could have been mainstream schooled. You know what I mean? Like, it's not because she was homeschooled that she turned out this way. You know what I mean? It's not a necessary thing. I feel very strongly in that way. I mean, of course, it all plays a part. Your environment that you are raised in definitely plays a part, huge part in who you turn out to be, and how you are as an adult. But it's not always the be all and end all. So just being able to trust the process, trust people who are ahead of you, trust that it's going to happen, and you will start seeing it. You will see it. You'll see it happening, and that'll build on your trust that it's going to keep happening, and all of that kind of stuff. So,
and it's been amazing. Hey, so
it is.
For both of our kids,
both of them.
We've seen, amazing things, and I would not. I want to do this for life now. Like, it's just it's a life thing. It's just I don't even know what school is any like what. What people go to school still, like what are you doing?
I know we're the same. So I don't really I don't have any box. I don't box myself into anything. So I can't call myself an unschooler because I do what my kids need. And so, but Lily was unschooled for like 8. No, oh, she went to online school because it was just a bit too hard for both of us to find something for her. But like, I totally trust the process 100%. And I can see the results of that. And, you know, I feel very strongly that like unschooling is an amazing thing that, you know, really churns out quality like grit and determination and
determination, like, for sure. Hey,
skills in yourself as an individual, knowing yourself, you know, all of that. They might not know everything from the curriculum, but they know way more about themselves and their space and who they are and all of that than
the world,
their peers, I think.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And I love what you said, the determination as well. Like they are everyone that has looked after the boys or anything like that with sports, they are just so amazed that they're like, wow, they listen so well. They listen. And that's what our big thing was, like, how will they learn to listen? You're like they want to listen because they love what they're doing. You know, they're in it. They want to do it. They want to do everything that they're doing. And like we do have them little things that we say, if you make the commitment and say yes to something, we've got to do it, because I don't, you know, it's not very nice leaving people waiting for you. And that's my thing. But when they're there, they love it. They love doing what they're doing, and they listen. They respect people that respect them back. I don't want them to ever feel like they need to do as what an authority or a person that's older says. Like, that's a big thing for me. I want them to be able to say no to things. And this is, you know, because that is very scary for me, for them to think that they're just going to like do what everyone else. Oh yeah, that's an older person. Let's just whatever they say goes. That's a big thing.
I totally agree. Listen. I align with that well too. And they do
listen. And also they have such determination with everything, with like, I think even just with like stuff like they're into dominoes. When you said that, like they were just nonstop, like trying to make the biggest domino set, and that just kept falling, trying to make a bigger domino set, kept falling, or the gaming, or, you know, they just have so much, let's do it again. And that I just didn't even think of that. They really just will keep going. And like the painting, the paintings, Cooper still, like, you know, he had that beach painting and he's still like, don't know if I like it.
And I guess that's a path thing for him to learn, to be able to you know, understand for himself that perfectionist in him. And he has, it sounds very much like he's got that space in your home to be able to explore that perfectionist, you know, and it means he's going to go way over here and be like, super, I need to black out this artwork because I don't like it. And then super like way over here to being like, no, it's not perfect and it's okay, as he learns for himself and has that ebb and flow in life to know like where perfectionist, where that, because it's going to be a, you know, I think anyway, a lifelong thing, like that you have these little things, you know, and being able to have the space to learn about it and understand, in this setting, this is how perfectionist I'm going to be in this setting, because I can be like that too, like you know, I can be quite OCD, I can be quite and if I get anxious, then, you know, it can really spiral me out of control. And so, you know, I've got things where it's like, oh no, that's okay. And it's okay that the house is a mess. But, you know, in other ways I'm like, okay, now it can't be, you know, and so I think, you know, being able to have that understanding of yourself and when, like, and how perfectionism lives in your life and how to manage that is really, really important. And he'll have that space to do that there, because that's your life. You know, he doesn't have to be sitting at school where it's just constantly perfectionist. That's, you've got to keep going there,
and you've got to do it how the teacher does it, and do how they think a, you know, blue elephant is meant to look like. That's what a blue elephant, you know. So
I can remember Lily in year 3, they were doing Christmas is the last straw actually for her, one of the last straws for her, and why I was like, okay, yeah, we can take you out. Like, we'll take you out, because she really wasn't coping. And so it was Christmas time, obviously end of the year, and her teacher, they were coloring in like different decorations, and the candy cane, it wasn't Lily wanted to do, I might get the colors wrong or something, but it was something along the lines of Lily wanted to do it like purple and green. And the teacher said, no, it needs to be red and green, crumpled it up, chucked it in the bin, and made her do it again. Destroyed art for my daughter the rest of her life.
That is traumatizing.
It really was.
That makes me want to cry.
It was so horrible. Like, I
can't even imagine doing that.
No, I know. I was so angry. I was livid.
It's crazy that an artwork that makes you feel that way. Like,
right? And it took years and years and years for her to like,
my heart. And she's such an amazing artist now.
I know, right? Because we worked so hard.
For sure.
Lily's just sent me a text message. I'm telling it wrong. The color was orange, and we weren't allowed to do anything orange. Thanks, Lil. She can clearly hear me.
Oh, wow.
Got to get the story right. I knew I was going to get it wrong, but the gist was there. But like it took her a good years to get over that, and now she's
selling her things now.
She was thinking about doing it. Yeah, she's done all these artworks, and it's just so beautiful
I love
to see that, like, see her heal from that.
Healing is everything.
Moment.
Yeah. And I was going to say that one of my things as well that I would love to achieve for the boys is not as much trauma in life. It'd be great.
Yeah. Hey, let's reduce the trauma.
At the same time, if something happens, I know that's their path to let go of. That's what it is, because you can't have control over.
You can't bubble wrap our kids
in life.
Yeah.
No, and that's their path to take.
Yeah.
But that would be great to reduce the trauma.
Or at least as well understand that having them home when trauma happens, because life does, we are there.
Sure. We are there.
Like, we can't, like, we can't.
And they're still, they have them experiences away from us, like when they're younger. Yeah. And when we go out, we're really far away, like we're pretty far away from them, and they get to play. That's a big thing for me. Free play. They free play forever with their friends, nonstop, creating, debating, so many different things. And I see it as always learning. Like that is a big thing. Like they're working out how to to compromise. Like so many things in that. They're teaching each other things. They're like, one of the kids will just be like, oh, look, there's like this on the, so it's everything for me is free play. And that's why I prioritize that. So I feel like when you're starting off with homeschooling, and then unschooling definitely have your intentions of what you want the boys, your kids to achieve when they're older. And also just definitely let go. And there was another thing that I just didn't even forgot now what I was going to say, but definitely have the intentions of what they're, and then just letting go. And I think that was another thing, but I forgot.
Letting go and trust and trusting, all of those things. Yeah. And I remember now. So putting together what you want, to like having like set, like you could even write a list of your, like, I forget the word again, no conditions or something like that. It's like your things of what you definitely want for, like, to add. So if you want them to read, that's one thing. That's like a no conditional, I don't know how, thing that you want them to do. Non-negotiable, is that what you're trying to say?
That's the word. Oh, mate, it's been.
I've been like trying to help you, and I'm like, I don't know what she's saying, but then you just said something, and I was like, you mean non-negotiable?
Okay, non-negotiables. Yeah. So that's one of the things, like, for a lot of people is reading, and that you're not going to be, but just bring that about with their passions. What we did with our last episode with gaming, it will come. Yeah. But just have that in the back of your mind subconsciously. Okay, reading, want to be out there. So, we'll just work, put that reading into different things, like reading the books to them, creating booklets. That's what we do a lot. Cooper's not very into reading. I mean, reading to him. Parker loves me reading to him. Remember the audiobooks?
Yes.
Jax loves. I was like, let's try this. Cooper's like, Mommy, what is that sound? Like, can you turn it off? I'm sick of the talking, mommy. I'm like,
Jackson only likes it at bed. Only likes it at night.
I tried everything. I was like, well, maybe when they're like playing with things, he's like, what is that? What's going on?
I don't like it. Yeah.
Or I'll start reading, like people like to start reading, and I was like, yeah, I'll read this, but I'm really not into it too. Maybe, so I'm like, but I'd make it into it. Like I make it so theatrical, like more than any other parents, I feel. I was like, and then what happened was the big tiger came and whoa, what's happening now? I don't know. And I make it, and he's just like, ugh. But what I found is him creating his own books. That has been a big thing. He goes on the computer, he types up his own books, and he gets the pictures of whatever he wants from Google. We print it off and we make it into little booklets. And later on, I definitely want to go to like Officeworks and make it in like a real, or not, and even make it better, like a pamphlet, like make it look like real books that he can have in his little library, because that's what he loves to read. And he reads them because he loves them. Yeah. And I can understand that, because I wasn't into books when I was younger, and I would have been the same. And even when they're at the co-op and all that, we have a co-op where they get to do the classes. They sit down and like they read books to him and all that sort of stuff, and you can tell Cooper's just like putting up his hand the whole time, and they're like, oh no, put down your hand, not yet, not yet, and he's just like questions, and he's like, I want to talk about this section of the book, like, oh yeah, I've been to Sydney and blah blah blah, like all this sort of stuff. And that's what made me also realize I don't want him in school, because I love him asking the questions and keeping up with that, because I don't want him to ever think that that's wrong. So that's a good thing. But yeah, it's a good experience for me to see and him to see as well. So once every blue moon, do it. And then Parker's opposite. He'll just sit there and pay attention and be like the typical good student. But then he ends up getting forgotten. They don't see him there. He misses out a lot. And that was really sad to see. So I'd probably rather him like Cooper and be like a little trouble. I said, like, people worry about their kids in school saying, oh, but how are they going to learn how to like, sit down and pay attention. Like, I'm just like, that's good if they're like probably speaking up, because they get noticed. Like, it's so sad if they don't get, like, I wasn't noticed. They're like, oh, you're still in this class, Aura. I didn't even realize you were there. They didn't know. Wow. Yeah. So.
Oh, they knew exactly when I was in and that's class. Good. I was good. Like, I did not care. I just did not.
That's
care.
Amazing.
I moved so often in my life that I learned very early on that like, going to school was for social. That's how I socialized as I went to school. And anyways, that's a whole other conversation. Yes. I really, really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your wisdom and your life, I suppose, as well, like, how you manage it, how you go about it, what it means for you, and how you live that. Because I feel like, if anyone's thinking about unschooling, and maybe their kids are not quite ready for school yet, or they are, take them out, just being able to see how someone lives it and what it means, and how their house is organized, and how they record everything, and how they deal with the mess, and, how they frame all of those things, will, really show them if this feels right to them, you know what I mean? Instead of just trying to read it. So I appreciate you being so open and willing and to say yes. I love that about you. I love that you're such a yes person.
I am a yes person, even if I don't want to do it. Yeah, I'm like, yes, okay.
Yes, I want to do this. Yes, I want to do this. I really want to do this.
That's me every week. That's me. So if you ask me something, I'll say yes, but inside I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not cut out for this. I'm not doing it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was just like, yes. Opportunities. I always open to every opportunity.
It's so good. And I love that. And I think that's what I connect with you, like on like a really soul level, how I feel like we connected, because I feel like we're both very much like, this is an opportunity, I'm taking that.
So crazy.
And then I'll stress about it later.
Yeah. It's weird how we're opposite but the same. I just find that so fascinating.
Right?
Like crazy.
Right? I love it. I really do. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time away from your boys.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Yes. So can you just let everyone know where they can find you? Where can they find you? Come and look at you.
Just Quinn
that sounds weird. I mean, like on socials. Just sounded weird.
Oh, I was about to give you out my address, but
I know. I was like, okay, that's just weird.
Quinn. So Quinn Family Fun on Instagram is
Excellent.
where I put everything from stories to like posts and everything like that. So yeah, Quinn Family Fun.
Yeah, cool. And obviously the links will be everywhere. But yeah, excellent. I really appreciate you a lot as a person,
thank you. I
as a friend,
so much,
and also for coming on here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I love every single time with you. I just love talking to you nonstop. So
I know, right?
This works out well.
I know, right? It works out well. It's like we get to carve out an hour and a half to have a chat. I love it.
Kill two birds with one stone,
right?
You know?
Yeah, I love it. It's great. I appreciate you. All right. Well, you have a good rest of your Monday, and have a great week, and I'll see you on the gram.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.